Pro-Palestine protesters are flooding Midtown and shut down Grand Central Station.
New anti-Israel protests breaking out in New York City.
At Grand Central, access was denied after a large group of demonstrators made its way across town.
Right now, we see a double standard going on between the Palestinians and the Israelis, which what happened on October 7th was terrible, but it doesn't justify killing 10,000 plus Palestinians.
I'm asking my colleagues, don't distort the words of my residents. Many people in this movement for human rights for Palestinians have always centered it around coexistence. You hear them calling for that and saying that, no matter your faith, your ethnicity, your background, you should be able to live without fear, without discrimination, without this kind of inequality that, Netanyahu's extremist party and his leadership has been pushing.
We've got a lot to cover today, guys, including multiple places that the U.S. government is warning not to travel right now. In fact, over 200 countries. I would not be surprised to see New York added to this list of places not to travel to, or perhaps at least several parts of New York, Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx. But let's get into this, guys. By the way, if you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a quick like for the video and subscribe to the channel for the latest on what is going on here around the world, in our economy, in our country. And by the way, guys, if you missed the live last night, I listed the 4 very shocking big changes that are coming for Social Security come 2024. What you need to know about, what you need to know, which is coming down the pipeline for retirees, those on SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, retirement benefits. If you're receiving any of these benefits, you definitely want to check out that video. I'll leave a link for that Social Security update, the 4 big changes coming for 2024 in the description down below this video. Be sure to check that one out after this video. Midtown Manhattan pro-Palestinian protesters have flooded Manhattan for a second night in the closure of Grand Central Terminal on Friday, demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Now, we've heard mixed opinions on whether we should continue to support Israel, whether the ceasefire should continue, or should the ceasefire not take place and allow Israel to force Hamas out of Gaza. There's a multitude of different perspectives on this.
An opportunity to alleviate the pain, you should do it, period. And if you don't, you're going to lose credibility worldwide.
The pro-Palestinian rally in New York started at 5 p.m. on Friday at Columbus Circle, with thousands marching in the streets demanding a ceasefire overseas. And these marchers then made their way to the New York Times building, vandalizing the front with a red tint before heading to Grand Central. Now, we've seen this happen earlier in one of my previous videos. I shared with you guys how they were putting these bloody handprints on the exterior of the White House perimeter, on the White House gates. And so this is a trend. In fact, this is a growing trend here. They surrounded the building, forcing its closure, and disrupted the Long Island Railroad and the Metro North service. The police remained on the scene until early morning hours. This morning, actually, arrested 6 people for disorderly conduct. And literally, guys, this is literally just like the latest in the near nightly demonstrations that we've seen since the start of the war. And we've seen thousands of people march through Midtown Manhattan. They shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, things have gotten quite wild in the state of New York to protest Israel's attacks on Gaza. On Thursday, a small group of demonstrators led by media workers calling themselves Writer Block entered the atrium of the New York Times building, carrying a banner calling a ceasefire. So it's very clear where a lot of New Yorkers, and I'm not sure how many of you guys are watching the show right now, stand on this, but they're demanding a ceasefire. A lot of people in New York. So where do you guys stand on this? Should there be a ceasefire? Should Biden stop funding Israel? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And so they remained for well over an hour, reading off the names of Palestinians that were killed in Gaza, including at least 36 journalists whose deaths were confirmed since the war. Some remained in the streets for a protest that ultimately snarled traffic in Manhattan during rush hour, and it grew quite unruly at times. We thought that things would continue to escalate, as a matter of fact. So More than 10,800 people have been put to rest in Gaza, according to the health ministry. And so this is a startling situation, to be very honest with you guys. Now, there's a number of places in the United States and around the world that are listed as high alert. In fact, Iran warned the United States of America that they would hit hard if we continue to push. So there's a number of U.S. cities on high alert. We've already heard from FBI director about that. But now there's a list of places that the U.S. government is warning Americans not to travel to right now. And I know that this isn't the kind of news that we really want to hear about, but I do want to make sure that everybody is as safe as possible. So if you guys appreciate the updates, definitely drop a like for the video and subscribe to the channel. So guys, global conflicts and climate rises, global conflicts and climate crises, ranging from a series of coups across Africa to earthquakes and floods in the catastrophe-prone countries, have literally affected international travel patterns in recent months. But still, international tourist arrivals could reach 80 to 90% of the pre-pandemic levels in 2023, according to the tourist organization. Now, on October 19th, following the outbreak of the war between Israel and Gaza, and of course, these very significantly flaring tensions in the region, the U.S. State Department issued a worldwide, guys, advisory due to increased tensions in various locations around the world. The potential for terrorist attacks, demonstrations, or violent actions against U.S. citizens and interests. Guys, this is kind of going back to what we were talking about previously, the warning that we heard from the FBI director. These are real. These are real, and I would not take them lightly. In fact, again, if you know anyone who's traveling, if you're planning on traveling, please take heed to these warnings and share this video with someone who you know is traveling who needs to know about this. In fact, I'm going to leave a link to you. I'm going to leave a link for you guys down below so that you can take a look for yourselves and see if wherever you or a family member may be traveling to is on this list, because I don't want any of my viewers, if I can save a life, I'd love to, traveling to any of these places that are listed as high risk. In fact, there's multiple different travel advisory levels, and they're by country. So if we scroll down here, if you see here, let's see, travel advisory levels in the state of Mexico, but there's another one further. Oh, here we go. So there's different travel advisory levels. So you got level 1, exercise normal precautions. Level 2, exercise increased caution. Level 3, we've got consider travel or reconsider travel. Level 4 is do not travel at all. So, just a heads up for you guys. So level 4, this is the highest advisory level due to greater likelihood of life-threatening risks during an emergency. The U.S. government may have very limited ability to provide assistance. The Department of State advises that the U.S. citizens not travel to the countries or leave as soon as it is safe to do so. The Department of State provides additional advice to travelers in the areas in the travel advisory. Conditions in any country may change at any time. So this is the highest level of warning. Literally, do not go to these places. Okay. This is coming directly from the U.S. Department of State. Level 3 is the next worst, which is reconsider travel. Avoid travel due to serious risks or to safety and security. The Department of State provides additional advice for travelers in these areas in the travel advisory. Conditions in any country may change at any time, meaning you need to check this frequently because this is a developing situation. The State Department has given about 20 countries an assessment level of 3, meaning it recommends people reconsider traveling to those destinations. On October 14th, 1 week after the deadly Hamas attack on Israel, Israel and the West Bank were both moved from a level 2 to a level 3, meaning things had escalated and the warnings had gotten more severe. So again, this is a developing situation and conditions can change. So you may see a travel destination at a level 2 today, but if you're not leaving for a week and a half, you definitely need to check it again and make sure it's not escalated to a level 3 or even a level 4. let's see, October 19th. So a travel advisory for the region updated on October 19th states that U.S. citizens wishing to leave Israel should take advantage of the charter flights leaving the Ben Gurion airport, as commercial options are limited. China actually became a level 3 country in during the C-19 pandemic, which it hadn't been prior to. But yeah, guys, so again, this is a developing situation. Afghanistan's on the list. Belarus, which actually Belarus used to be a travel destination or tourist destination. It's on the list here. Belarus, which shares a western border with Russia and a southern border with Ukraine, has been flagged for Belarusian authorities' continued facilitation of Russia's war against Ukraine, the buildup of Russian military forces in Belarus, the arbitrary enforcement of local laws, the potential of civil unrest, the risk of detention, and the embassy's limited ability to assist U.S. citizens residing in or traveling to Belarus. So, guys, and of course, Gaza, Hamas, a foreign terrorist organization as designated by the State Department, controls of the Gaza Strip, which borders both Israel and Egypt, is on the list. Haiti's on the list. Iran, Iraq, Lebanon's on the list. So honestly, there's very clear regions that are of no surprise to anyone who's not been living under a rock in the last, 24 months, that would likely be high risk. North Korea is on the list here. Russia's on the list. So, but just make sure that you're not traveling to any of these locations that are being advised against. So Yemen, 6 of the 9 risk factors defined by the State Department: terrorism, civil unrest, health risks, kidnapping, armed conflict, and landmines are all present in Yemen. Despite private companies offering tourist visits to the Yemeni islands of Socotra, the U.S. government argues that those arranging such visits are putting tourists in danger. Civil war and cholera were both present throughout the country. The U.S. Embassy in Sana'a halted operations approximately 8 years ago. The country has experienced, so basically, and then there's other countries that you need to be watched for. So again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave a full list for you guys. In fact, I'm going to leave a link to the list so you can see it directly for yourselves, so you can see the sources. Because again, this is a dynamic list and it will continue to change. So if you guys appreciate the updates, definitely drop a like for the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.